Hi, and welcome to DevScope YouTube channel. My name is Valter Lima, and today I want to share with you some tips and tricks on how to manage large lists with Power Automate. Now let's say that you have a list that already exceeds the view threshold. For example, I have these popular baby names. If I go here and I go to list settings, you will see that this list already exceeds the threshold, the view threshold. So I just press list settings. So here it is. It already exceeds that value. Now, if you have a flow that needs to work with all the records on this list, you will do something similar to this. But if you only do this, I will show you that you will not receive the total records that are on this list. If you only do this, you will just receive the top 100. The reason why is if you don't give a top parameter to this operation, by default they will only return 100 records. So as you can see, it will only give you 100. Now we can configure the top, so we can insert a higher value than 100. So if I go here, just for the example, and if I say that I want to receive the top 20,000, it will say that the attempt is that it fails. It says that exceeds the list view threshold. So the maximum number that you can insert here is the list view threshold, that is 5,000. So with this we receive the first 5,000 records, but we need to receive the rest of the records. And to do that we need to use pagination parameters. And I will just add here this parameter, so I'm ordering by ID, and I will do a pagination. In this case I will start on the ID 0. Okay, and if I run this here, this will receive the same results. And if I do the same on R4, it also will receive the first 5,000 records. In this case, I will add the rest. Okay, good. Now, what we need to do is to transform this 0 in a variable, so it will be always the first one on the next block. Now I will create my my variables. Initialize variable, top items, and this is an integer and will be 5,000. Initialize top items, and the other one variable, also initialize, and this one will be first ID, first ID. It will also be an integer. In this case it will start with 0. Okay, now I'll just remove this that is no longer necessary. I will change this name, so this is no longer get all babies name, it will be get babies names. Okay, and I will insert a do until cycle, and in this cycle I will get my baby's names, and didn't go. Okay, this will run do until end of list, so until I see all the records. And when this will happen, when the top records, so when this top, I will this top will be changed to the records that I will be receiving here. So when this top is no longer equal to the initial value that was 5,000. So now if I go here, I will set my variables, and in the top items, my top items will be, let me just first change these top items, and my top items will be length of body get babies names and the results. Okay, this is my top items, and also I need to set my new ID, my new first ID. So set rename first ID. So here I will have last body get babies names, again the results, and I will try to get ID. I think it's this. What? Okay. Save. Let's test this. Okay. So if I press test, then let's see what's happened. Now the flow just ended, and takes about 1 minute just to run the cycle of receiving all the records from the list. So as you can see, this runs 10 times, and each of the time he receives a different block of records, and here is the start ID on each time, so always a different ID. Now what I want to show next, let's consider that we want to receive the records that are from a specific year of birth. So let's say that in this case I will just replace this for example, and we want to say that we want to filter the year of birth equal to 2011. Okay, so if we say this again, we had the threshold list view error. So as an alternative to do this, I will suggest doing this all in the flow. So the idea will be receive all the records on the flow, and on the flow filter the records that we want. So now we'll add a select. In this select we will set the records there. Select here. All the get babies names, the results, and now I want to get the idea. Will be item ID. The year of birth. Oh. Okay. The year of birth. The item. Year of birth. Okay. And we can have the rank, for example. Let's just check. I think it's rank. Yeah, the rank. And this should be, oops. Item rank. Okay, I will rename this. Select baby's names, and now I will add the filter. So filter array from the selected babies where item year of birth is equal to 2011. Okay. Let's test this and see if everything is working. Now, the flow just ended and it takes 2 minutes to filter the records. So, as you can see here, I have the filter. It only shows the records of 2011. But we could have a more complex filter to do. So instead of just the item equals to 2011, let's say that we also want the rank to be the first rank of the year of 2011. So what I suggest is to, instead of doing a filter this way, you do a condition and you want this condition to be true. So something like this. So here and says equals item year of birth 2011 and equals item rank 1. Okay, I think this is correct. Let me just check, and equals item. Okay. Now instead of equals 2011, we will say equals to true. And I think this will work. Let's try again. So the flow just ended in about 2 minutes. If you go to the flow filter array, you will see that the records that is being showed here are all filtered by year of 2011 and rank 1. Now let's say that we want to change this filtered record. Let's say that we want to change the state of these records. So we will add a new column here. Let's call it state. And what we will do is we will change all the records that are from year 2011 and from rank 1 to the state archived. Okay, so let's edit. Now, to do that, we will need to use a batch operator. So we will not try to update one by one, so request one by one. We will use a bulk operation. So I will use a helper that I have here, and this will be the request. So this is the site address, the method, the URI, the header, and the body. And what is on yellow are other parameters that will be inserted in like this. So this is entity full name, the batch width, the change set width, and this change set chunk will be associated to each record. So this will be a script that will be associated to each record. So first, let's create the HTTP request. Let's go back to our flow. And add this request, and I will call this batch request. Now, our site. This is a post operation. Oops. Okay. Now let's go back to the file and let's copy all this information here. Header. And the body. Okay. Now we need to create the variables to replace this change set width, the change set, the batch width, and the change set chunk. So we'll start with the batch width. Compose. I will call this batch width, and this will be just copy. Okay. Oops. I will replace this width for the width function. Now I will do the same to the change set width, but I will do this over this select baby's name, and then I will explain it, but for now I will just create here. Sorry, compose. Okay. Oh, and rename this to change set width. Okay. Now I go back to the batch request, so I will replace this batch width with batch width, this batch width, this batch width, this change set width, this change set width, this change set width with this change set width, and this batch width. Okay. What we need to do now is to replace this change set chunk, and this change set chunk is the scripts that each record needs to update. So what I will do is I will map that script on this select baby's name, and then it's easier to join on a single string. So let me show you how I will do this. So I will call this change set script, and I will copy this here. Now I will get the entity full name, so I will use this. And the name of the list is popular baby names. Copy this, and now I will replace the entity full name here, and the site URL is this one. The list name, baby names. Okay, now the item ID. The item ID is the item ID. And the change set width is the change set width. State, but the field is state, so I could have here more fields to update, but I'm only updating this one. Okay. Okay, now that we have all these scripts on each record, I want to make an array with only these scripts, and then I will join them in the batch request. So I will add a select here, select, and rename these two. Change set chunk. Now instead of getting the records from the selected baby names, I will receive it from the filter array, right? And I will not do a mapping, but I will do it this way. So now I want item change set script. Now we'll open the batch request, and we will need to change this change set chunk for a join of the above change set chunk. So here join body change set, and the delimiter is empty. Okay. Now, one more thing that is important not to forget. The batch has a limit of 1000 records to update. So we have to change the top items that we are receiving, or we should create a do until inside the do until. But I believe it's simpler to do this way. So we just change our top and this do until to 1000, and I believe now it's okay. So we have some, oops, the wrong name. Okay. Now let's test and see if it's working. So test, run flow, and let's wait. The job is now complete, and for what it takes 3 minutes to update all the records from 2011 and rank 1. So if I go here to the list, and I'm filtering by rank 1, not by year, and you can see that from the year 2011 they are archived, the ones that are from 2012 are not. So it seems to be working correctly, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any doubts or any suggestion, you can insert in the comments, and see you next time.